Okay, so if you're a developer, you've definitely been there. You're working with an API, everything's going great, you make a call, you get your data, you're building something amazing, and then, bam, you hit a wall. A hard, invisible wall that just stops your application dead in its tracks. So, what if you could just kind of tame that wall? Or even better, what if it just wasn't a problem anymore? Let's dive in. Yep, this thing, the dreaded 429 too many requests. We've all seen it. It's basically the API's way of screaming, whoa, slow down. And it's a real pain, right? It can completely break your user's experience, stall out your background jobs. It's just a massive headache. But what if you could handle this, gracefully and automatically? Well, you absolutely can. Let me introduce you to @jutech-devs/API rate limiter. You can think of this as a super smart, lightweight gatekeeper for all your API requests. It's designed to make sure you never hit that wall unexpectedly ever again. And this thing is just packed with features right out of the gate. You've got multiple limiting strategies to pick from. We're talking sliding window, fixed window, token bucket, the whole shebang. It has React hooks, which makes integration a breeze, full TypeScript support for that extra safety, and it even comes with advanced power-ups like retry logic. The best part? It has zero dependencies. Seriously, it's insanely lightweight. So how does this thing actually work its magic? Well, the real power of this library is in its strategies. You get to choose the perfect approach for exactly what you're building. And trust me, that choice makes all the difference. First up, we've got the fixed window strategy. It's the simplest one to understand. Just imagine you get, say, 100 requests to spend every minute. As soon as that minute is up, poof, the counter resets back to 100. It doesn't matter when you made your requests within that minute, it's just a hard reset every 60 seconds. Simple and effective. Now here's the interesting trade-off. Fixed window is really memory efficient, which is a huge plus. The downside, though, is that you can get these request bursts right at the edge of two windows. Like you could fire off a ton of requests in the last second of 1 minute, and then another huge batch in the very first second of the next. That spike could temporarily overwhelm an API. Next up, we have the sliding window. Now this one is a bit more sophisticated. Instead of those hard fixed intervals, it maintains a rolling window. So it's always looking at only the requests you made in the last 60 seconds from this very moment. It gives you a much smoother request rate. The big win here is accuracy. It is by far the most effective way to enforce a rate limit, and it totally prevents those weird edge case bursts we just talked about. So what's the trade-off? Well, it has to keep track of the timestamps for every single request, so it does use a little bit more memory. And finally, there's the token bucket. This one's pretty cool. Imagine you have a bucket, and request tokens are dropped into it at a steady pace. To make an API call, you have to reach in and grab a token. If the bucket's full, you can use a whole bunch of tokens at once for a burst. But if it's empty, you gotta wait for a new token to drop in. This strategy is amazing for handling bursts while still smoothing out your overall request rate. It means your app can be idle for a bit, save up those tokens, and then spend them all when it really needs to. It's a little more complex to get your head around for sure, but it is incredibly powerful. And you know what the best part is? Switching between any of these powerful strategies is as easy as changing a single line of code in your config. You can literally just try them all out, find the perfect fit for your app, and you don't have to rewrite a single bit of logic. It's that simple. But wait, there's more. This library goes way beyond just setting a simple limit. It comes with some really serious power-ups that can handle those complex, real-world problems for you automatically. For example, what happens when you actually do get rate limited? Well, you can just configure automatic retries. You can tell it, hey, try again up to 3 times. And you can even enable exponential backoff, which smartly increases the delay between each retry attempt. That's a super common best practice, and it's just built right in. Or what if you have a massive list of items you need to get data for? Instead of just blasting out hundreds of requests and hoping for the best, you can use the batch processor. It'll queue them all up and then work through them intelligently, always respecting the rate limits you've set. It's an absolute game changer for processing large data sets. And what if you're juggling multiple APIs at once? Maybe you're hitting GitHub, Twitter, and your own internal service all at the same time. No problem. You can set up and manage separate rate limiters for every single service, all from one central spot in your code. It keeps everything so clean and organized. Okay, the features are cool. I get it. But let's talk about the real-world payoff. How does this actually make your life as a developer easier and your app well, better. This is where things get really practical. The library gives you constant access to its current state. You can know exactly how many requests are remaining, exactly when the limit resets, and even a simple Boolean for is limited. You can use all this data to build way smarter UIs, like disabling a button until a request is allowed, or maybe even showing a user a little countdown timer. And the use cases for this are just everywhere. You've got the obvious stuff, like respecting third-party API limits, but you can also use it to stop users from spamming a form, to throttle your background jobs so they don't go crazy, or even to protect your own APIs from getting overwhelmed. It's just so versatile. And it's really worth saying this again. All of this power comes in a tiny little package that has 0 dependencies. It is not going to bloat your project. And it works beautifully whether you're using plain old vanilla JavaScript or building a huge complex React application. It's designed to just drop right in and get to work. So, that all brings us to one final question. I want you to really think about this. If you had a tool that could manage rate limits this intelligently, what would that unlock for you? What kind of ambitious, data-heavy features could you build if that API wall was no longer something you had to worry about, but was just another problem solved?